Hi everyone, it's Quickie Baby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And the 1.6.1 test server is here, so we get to take a look at what's coming up to World of Tanks. Now, 1.6.1, it's a smaller patch. It's not 1.7, 1.8. You get it? It's kind of like an intermediate patch. And while it doesn't really bring any massive content, it does bring one thing that's rather cool, and that is multinational vehicles. Now, multinational vehicles are not a new thing to World of Tanks. So, when we talk about it from a global phenomenon, they've actually been on the console version for many years. Now, in a nutshell, what multinational vehicles will allow you to do, and the first one is only going to be for the Rudy, is to click a button and to change the nation of the tank. So, the Rudy, a vehicle which first went into the game before the Polish tanks were added, and so it went into the Soviet tech tree. Now, this vehicle, I believe, is from a famous Polish TV program called, I think, Four Tankers and a Dog, and so it's bizarre that the Rudy is not actually available inside the Polish tech tree, right? It makes no sense that it'll be a Soviet tank. So, with one click of a button in next patch, well, I guess a couple of clicks of a button, you're going to be able to change the configuration of your Rudy to Polish. Now, this is actually incredibly interesting because you're going to be able to use your Polish crew inside the vehicle. Of course, Sharek still stays. That's good. Okay, you're really happy about being Polish in this patch, are you, Sharek? Okay, good. Okay, can't quite speak dog, but maybe we'll get there if I keep doing it enough, right? So you get to have two complete different configurations with this vehicle for the next patch. All of the crew will be different, so you could have different crew skills on them if you want to play the tank in a different way. You've got different marks of excellence on the barrel. The vehicle, apart from that, I think looks fairly darn similar. All right, so the equipment slot will actually be different. Now, a lot of you will be thinking, what, so I have to put 6 pieces of equipment on a single premium tank now? Well, yeah, if you want to play it inside the two different nations, that's true. But here's where I've been thinking, why not try and set the vehicles up differently? For example, do you see my Polish crew up here? They're not exactly super skilled, right? So why don't I supplement their poor view range by, instead of using coated optics, by using binoculars instead? Of course, I can still use my gun rammer. Maybe I want to try and play, I'd definitely choose vents on this tank. But if you want to play more of a long-range role with those binoculars, I guess you could use a camo net. But I still think that the should we say, min-maxer inside me would think that would be a terrible idea, and I'd definitely rather going for vents. Now, when you change the nation of the vehicle as well, you get to use the bread with Smalets, so you're no longer going to be able to use the remove speed governors. So here's what I'm thinking. All right, of course you can use these tanks to be able to train up 2 different crews, which is a huge advantage for having a premium tank, although the statistics of the vehicle doesn't change at all. So to be able to have one setup on one vehicle and then just click the nation change and then go back to being a Soviet tank, and then to be able to train up your Soviet crews with a single click, it's just really awesome. So for example, my Soviet crew, I've got them inside my Object 140, and this is one of my most skilled crews in World of Tanks, if not my most skilled crew in World of Tanks, at least until Santa Claus came and started to just go crazy with his 2 free skills, right? What I'm going to do on the Rudy when it's Soviet is I'm going to use coated optics. And you know what? Why don't I also use this as a bit of an aggressive flanking tank? I'm going to drop the med kit. My crew, they don't need it, right? They're all completely off their face on inebriated on vodka, right? So they don't really need to have the med kit. So we're going to use remove speed governors instead, which is going to allow us to get them into the combat faster. And so you can play tanks in multiple ways, and this is something that I've been wanting to see in the game for a very long time, especially in frontline wargaming. Maybe you could use this amazing nation change technology that you have developed for the 1.6.1 patch and have it so that we can change the configuration of our tanks for when we want to use them in frontline and when we want to use them in the random queue. Because I don't know about all of you, but when I'm playing frontline, I don't really want to be using premium consumables on all of my tanks, and I don't want to have nearly as many premium rounds. So to be able to have a mode change, or to have multiple setups on a tank, I don't see why Wargaming would really have a problem with it. Sure, I guess they want to try and make a little bit of gold when you remove your equipment, or I guess they want you to spend more credits. But I think the gain that they will make from people having to purchase multiple exteriors, multiple paint jobs, if you perhaps want to change the setup of your tank to have different slots, or alternatively, just making you have to play more and spend more of your credits on having multiple equipment slots on your tanks, would probably be a payoff they'd be willing to make. So multinational crews in World of Tanks. You know what? Everybody's very quick to call out Wargaming when they do awful things for the game balance, when they release overpowered premium tanks, when they seem to make dubious decisions, at least in my opinion, with changing the very fundamentals of the game as the reason why I fell in love with it all of those years ago. But this, how can you have a problem with this? This is just absolutely awesome. Wargaming, congratulations. You've put in some really funky technology. Well, not really, it's not super technology, but you've incorporated a way for us to be able to seamlessly switch our vehicles without, at least I found so far, any hang-ups. And that has to be commendable. Undoubtedly, this is going to add value to premium tanks. A vehicle like the Rudy now, if you purchase it, I don't know how much it costs, 10 to 20 euros, depending on the bundle, I guess, that you choose to pick, now is effectively buying a premium tank for both nations. That is clearly going to give you an advantage in Wargaming's horrible campaign system, where they force you to have to place specific tanks down specific lines, and sometimes you have to have artillery across multiple nations. Oh, I hate it. But it's definitely going to be useful to have a multinational tank for those kind of missions, right? But apart from that, it's just nice to have something that you can crew train. And there are lots of tanks inside the game that are in the wrong tech trees. But before I go into that, I just want to highlight Wargaming Awesome. This is how you can add value to your products and not have to force us to buy them by just making them overpowered. Please, please, please do everything that you can do to stop introducing premium tanks that are just pushing the boundaries too far as to what is balanced. This is just a brilliant way for you to add value to your products that hopefully will sell well, that it's not increasing their statistics or making them better than other tanks to force people to have to buy them. You're making them look like an attractive purchase to just make them more enjoyable inside the game, or to give yourself just the luxury of being able to switch nations and then to crew train multiple nations. All right, so I've talked about that. Now let's talk about the vehicles that I think I would really like to see this multinational nation switch going on for. So, I mean, we can't talk about multinational tanks without also focusing on some of the British premium vehicles that went into the game early on. Where's my Churchill 3? Why don't I have a Churchill 3 on this account? Am I being an absolute spoon right now? British, oh yeah, because it's not British, at least yet. That wasn't actually scripted. That was me being a complete potato. All right, exactly, this is what I'm talking about. Why is the Churchill 3 inside the Soviet tech tree? We need to have this as a multinational tank, boys and girls. Perfect example, all of the Lend-Lease tanks that went into the game in the Soviet and the German tech tree before the French and the British were added to the game. So, Churchill, make this a multinational vehicle so that we can switch it, so that we can manage to play it as a British tank as well. Awesome, right? Other vehicles are, for example, the completely broken and overpowered German Tier 4 Panzerkampfwagen B2 740, which, as far as I can tell, is obviously a captured B1 French tank. So I think a lot of people would be far more interested in having this tank, even though I don't really want this vehicle to be popular. It's more of a principle, and I totally agree. I totally disagree with how powerful this tank is with its super preferential matchmaking, that it only meets Tier 4 tanks. That's not necessary. Every time one of these vehicles is sold, I think the game gets a little bit worse. But at least if the game's going to get a little bit worse, it's nice if you could play it in the original nation that it was. I understand it was captured and used by the Germans, but it'd be pretty cool if you could also roll it out for the French. Another tank that obviously would be pretty cool to have would be the captured Tiger, right? A lot of people are quite miffed, I guess, about having the American flag all over this tank, and they want to play a King Tiger inside the German tech tree to train up their German heavy tank crews, right? So can you imagine if we had that change nation button right here, and you could play the vehicle with your E100 crew, your E75 crew, and then bam, you switch, and then you got Major Creighton Abrams inside the tank as well, so you could train up your American crews. This is definitely opening up whole new avenues of opportunity for Wargaming to just add value to their premium tanks without seemingly forcing the community to purchase them by just simply making them overpowered. Now, hopefully this will make more of the balanced premium vehicles sell. I would really like to see Wargaming roll this out, not just on tanks like the King Tiger, and not just premium tanks, but maybe some of the reward vehicles as well. I mean, you can't really think about multinational crews without thinking about the Tier 9 reward vehicle, the T-55A. Currently inside the German tech tree, it's what makes it special, but sure, it'd be nice to be able to also crew train your Soviet tanks. And this would allow you on 4 times and 5 times, and even just for your daily double experience weekends, to switch all of your vehicles to a specific crew. And then by having all of these reward vehicles and having all of these premium vehicles that you have inside your garage, it'd be really fun to do some crew training. But of course, I'm just theory crafting here. I'm not entirely sure what Wargaming specifically have planned for the multinational approach of this button, but it does certainly make sense to have the Rudy as a Polish tank, and Sharek is going to be back to, I guess, his original nation, right? So Wargaming, once again, congratulations to you for creating a great system that will add value to the way that you monetize your game without forcing people to purchase things, tanks that are just flat out overpowered, right? This is great stuff. Whoever incorporated this, my thumbs up to you. I truly hope that this allows you to sell more premium tanks, not just the overpowered ones. I'm trying to highlight that this could be a good way to sell balanced premium tanks and encourage people to purchase them rather than just forcing us to purchase them by making them flat out overpowered. This is the thing that will keep World of Tanks alive, in my opinion, not just next year, but for another 10 years of World of Tanks. It has to be fair. It's very narrow-sighted, in my opinion, to try and monetize the game by releasing overpowered premium tanks. Sure, you're going to cash out now, but then your player base is going to be alienated, and how the hell are you ever going to sell any premium tanks in the future if you've already sold overpowered ones now, unless you just continue the loop, and then everybody's going to say, well, that's enough, what's the point of playing this game unless you've got a credit card, right? Think about all of the other, in my opinion, perfectly monetized video games out there, like League of Legends, for example. It's you can be 100% competitive without spending any money on the game. However, people love spending money on League of Legends. I mean, look, I'm just sitting here. I mean, these have all been used out. Don't ask me to give them away. I've got blooming League of Legends money codes that I purchased and then activated the code online, right? Just to be able to buy skins. Sometimes Tanya's enjoyed one of the Sona skins so much, I think that the legendary ones cost like 15 euros or whatever, but we pay that happily because we get so much enjoyment from the game. We don't pay that because your character's now going to be more powerful. We don't pay that because it's the only way to be able to get that character. We pay that because we want the character to look different. So things like this. I think this would be a great opportunity to just continue to monetize the game through exterior and through adding features into the game that make premium tanks more valuable outside of making them flat out overpowered. So whoever came up with this idea, just thank you. Brilliant stuff. I'm thrilled. Please continue this, Wargaming. It's the way that you are going to make your game more successful in a Western environment where the competition is fierce and, frankly, fairness is more important. I just feel that the CIS region must be willing to put up with things being unfair from a monetary point of view. And I think from a Western perspective, with so much competition out there, free-to-play titles where you don't gain any advantage, even if people are dumping sometimes, tens, sometimes hundreds of euros each month on it, I think we might be missing out on a trick there. Anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gents. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and let me know what you think about the multinational vehicles in the comments down below. And while I've highlighted a few ones that I'd like to see, what kind of tanks out there do you think are in the wrong tech tree at the moment? Maybe the Black Dog. I'm looking at you. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.